Hello, you are listening to the All Girls School podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Barrett, a graduate from an all-women's college in Virginia. This podcast aims to highlight the diverse experiences and life journeys of graduates from all-women's colleges. Listeners can expect to hear candid conversations about a wide variety of topics. This podcast strives to be in an inclusive space, so some guests may identify themselves as non-binary or trans. I hope you're ready, because class is about to start. All right. Hello, Emily. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
I'm excited to have you. Oh, my voice just really got gurgly right there. Oh, no. So this is a great start. It's been a while
I know.
since I've seen you. It was like Tesla's wedding?
Yeah. So
How long ago was that?
2020? Was it 2020? 2021?
2021.
2021,
Because
yeah.
it wasn't like heart of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was like the
'Cause
year after.
They rescheduled, right? Because it was supposed to be 2020?
Maybe.
I don't know. Sorry, Tesla.
Maybe. It
Sorry,
happened in
Calix.
2021. That's all I know.
Yes, I was
And
there.
It almost didn't happen.
Yeah, because they switched the date. That's it. They switched the day.
It almost didn't happen. The mandates got taken away right before. They were very much not sure if we were gonna have to wear masks or not.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I think was it Como's I don't know, someone related to potentially Como. I don't know, is that how you say his last name?
I don't know.
Was getting married in that summer. So it's just I'm pretty sure Tesla brought this up to me because that relative was getting married. Conveniently, all of the mask mandates just
Magically
went away just in time for their wedding.
That's perfect for good old Tesla Goodrich.
So yeah, and then before that was probably the graduation of 2015.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I was math. Let me do the math.
Too many years.
Yeah. And that was, let's actually not talk about that. I mean, it was fun, but maybe too fun.
Yeah.
Anywho, this is about you. So, kind of like how I like to start, or how it's just kind of fallen into place with the podcast, because this is, the second season, I guess.
Season 2.
I know.
I like it.
Yeah. Making it official, season 2. I like to have whoever I have on kind of transport themselves back in time and tell us where did you grow up? Where are you from? What was high school Emily like?
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit.
So I am from Wake Forest, North Carolina. It's right outside of Raleigh. Not to be confused with where Wake Forest University is, in Winston-Salem. So tiny town outside of Raleigh. It's not that tiny anymore. It's very overpopulated, overcrowded. I went to a charter school called Franklin Academy, kindergarten through 12th grade. And I ended up teaching there after college. So grew up there. My grandparents were there. My parents, obviously. Very small town, but by the time I got to high school, I was very determined to leave and said multiple times I was never, ever coming back there, only to come back 4 years later. So, and then I live there again now.
Okay.
So, I can't leave. I want to leave it, but I just always seem to come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you wanted to leave, and you did.
I did. I went to Virginia.
Yeah. And so you ended up at Mary Baldwin. How did you end up there? What was the process for discovering Mary?
So I was gung-ho. I was going to do ROTC, wanted to do nursing, get an AV ROTC scholarship, did that. Well, attempted to do that. Found Mary Baldwin. A friend of my mom's actually worked there in the Office of Engagement or something. I don't know. Yeah. Some position. And knew that I was interested in the ROTC part. And he was like, hey, I think Emily would like Mary Baldwin. My mom took me my sophomore year to visit. And she's like, well, I think this is it. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think this is it for me.
Oh.
Or maybe it was my junior year. I know I went back junior year, did an overnight. I'm pretty sure you were one of the people for the overnight, and like I
That's
met you
funny.
and a couple other people.
Sorry.
The
I don't know if
Denny's,
that
yeah.
was
All
good
of
or bad.
like I remember Tesla was there. She was
Oh.
actually might have been one of my overnight people.
Okay.
Maybe that was senior year. I don't know. But applied, got accepted there. My mom was like, that's where you're going. My dad was like, no, it's too expensive. And I was like,
Not wrong.
right. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to go here. Like this,
Yeah.
I don't want to go here. I wanted to go
Interesting.
to Alabama.
Got
into Alabama, very different. But I got a really nice scholarship to Mary Baldwin. And it was just kind of like, this is where you're going.
Okay.
So like freshman year, I was determined that I was going to transfer.
Oh.
Like first semester, my parents told me I had to wait until second semester. And then I could apply, transfer somewhere else. And by the time second semester rolled around, I was like, well, I've already made friends.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to be the new kid. Like, I'll just be here. But I secretly kind of liked it then. So.
Oh, okay.
And then once we did breakout, I was like, yeah, I'm staying. I'll stay.
Okay. Interesting. So, yeah, I did notice that you're like an Alabama fan, which,
yes.
No offense to you.
No, it's fine.
But some of the most annoying guys I know are
Alabama fans. My mom went there, so it's the only team I've ever like loved and supported. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's
like,
not just a random
to it.
Not just like a bandwagon.
Yeah,
random.
That's
fan.
good.
Yeah,
I'm a Notre Dame fan because I have no allegiance since I went to Mary Baldwin. It's like I can choose who I want.
Right?
So,
yeah,
Notre Dame. Yeah, I mean they're probably not as successful as Alabama has been, but
we beat them in a national championship. So
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't follow them that hard. But I do want to go to a game. I think Megan Barron and her family go to Notre Dame games every now and then. So,
that checks out.
Megan, I would like to go to a game with you and your family at some point. Just invite me. It's on my bucket list. And I know that y'all go. So if you listen to this.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, please invite me next time y'all go. But yeah, have you been to an Alabama game?
I have been to two. Yes.
Nice.
Was supposed to go this year, and then we decided we'd rather go overseas. So
yeah,
because it's expensive. The tickets are expensive. The hotels are expensive. It's a 10-hour drive.
Yeah,
it's a lot, but it's fun.
Yeah, I get that. Someone I know, it's not Alabama, but they like have an Airbnb near. Is it Georgia? Like the Bulldogs?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. They have like an Airbnb right near the stadium. And
I'm sure they make.
Yeah.
There's a hotel I already saw for next year's schedule. There's a hotel in Tuscaloosa and it's like $5,000 for a night. And it's like a Best Western or something. Yeah. For the Georgia game. So we'll not be going to that.
Sounds like you need a camper van.
Something like that. Yeah.
An RV. Oh my gosh, that's insane.
I know.
I hope Notre Dame games aren't like that. I might not be going now. But yeah, that's wild. Well, I'm glad you've gotten to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you didn't even like Mary Baldwin at first.
No. And now I'm like, love it. Looking back, it was great.
Yeah. You've drank the Kool-Aid now.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I even went to grad school there. So I like double dipped, had to go back to Mary Baldwin. Yeah.
Okay. So once you decided you liked Mary Baldwin and you were in VWIL, obviously, what was your overall experience like?
So I feel like mine was maybe a tiny bit different freshman year, sophomore year. I became friends with the trads and kind of got not ostracized, but it was like, well, you hang out with them more. And I was like, oh my God, I live with you guys. I eat with you guys. Like, see you all the time. And some of them were local. So I kind of like was a little more integrated into Stanton itself.
That's cool.
Like knowing people in town, going to parties, like with local people.
Cool.
Yeah. And so I think that made it kind of fun, a little more fun, felt like a little more homey. It wasn't just
Yeah.
school. It was, I was used to people, like the town itself, or being around the town some. But yeah, it ended up being good. And the hardest part, I think, when I was like, oh, I want to leave, was I didn't want to leave my sister Knowles and everybody who had become friends with. I was like, I'll just stay. It'll be fine. It'll be good. We'll get through all this together. And like looking back, I don't think I'd change it, just because I don't think I would obviously know the same people or have done some of the same things not having gone there.
No.
So
do you think like going to a big school like Alabama would have completely changed your college experience?
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you think you'd be the same person?
No. I think I would have been very lost. Like, I came from my high school, my graduating class was 79 people. So then going to a giant school with a giant campus, I think would have been difficult.
Jenna, I just chatted with Jenna Ritchie, my sister-in-law, and I think she said her graduating class in Waynesboro was like 80-something. And we were just talking about, I work at George Mason now, and there's like over 40,000 students.
That's insane.
And I think it's fine for grad school, but if there's no way I could have gone to a school that big for undergrad.
No.
It would have been overwhelming. It's like, how do you find your people in such a big, like with so many students? Like, trying to like find your people would have been so hard. And I think that's kind of like the cool thing about VWIL and Mary Baldwin is because it was so small and intimate. It was just easier, I feel like, to make connections.
And I mean, part of it, we were kind of forced to find our people. It was like, these are your...
If you didn't just say that, I was about to. They're forced.
Yeah, these are your friends now.
Yeah.
Which I ended up being like, okay, that's cool. I like them. Like by the time we all graduated and left, I was like, God, I've lived with you for 4 years. Like, what am I supposed to do now? But I think overall it was a good decision.
It's good
to be a fighting squirrel.
I know. Do you like find yourself buying random squirrel things?
Yes, I have a squirrel cookie jar. I have a variety of squirrel like Christmas ornaments. One day I want to have a little squirrel tree. Yeah, anything I see that's a cute squirrel, I have to.
There were some cute like wooden squirrel type things in Germany, and I almost I was tempted to get them, but I felt like they were way too expensive. I was like, I can't spend this many euros on a squirrel. I was like, no. But they were cute. But I just notice squirrels. I think anything squirrel related, decor wise, I'm like, oh.
And my mom is always like, I saw a cute squirrel something. And I'm like, okay. Did you get it? Or are we going to have it? Do we get to add it to my collection? But so squirrels, lots of squirrels.
In one of my graduate school classes, we were tasked with like coming up with a new mascot idea for George Mason. And one of their ideas was a squirrel. And I was like, actually
already exists.
Already taken.
That's my favorite part of when people ask where I went to school. I'm like, Mary Baldwin, and they just kind of look at me and I'm like, it was a women's college, mountains of Virginia, outside of UVA. Oh, okay. I'm like, our mascot's of fighting squirrels. And they're like, yeah, of course it was. I was like, well, no. Do you want the history of it? And I give them the whole rundown about why it's a squirrel. And they're like, okay, that's still weird. I'm like, no, it's not.
Have they seen some of the other mascots out there? Like,
right?
It's really not that bad.
No.
Campbell University is the camel.
Fighting camels, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's strange.
I know. I took a visit of Campbell. Yeah, my dad wanted me to play softball, and so they were like one of the teams that I could have potentially played for. But I was like, nope, Campbell University is not for me. It's like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you think Stanton's small, there's nothing in Bowie's Creek. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the buildings on campus, which was like 4 stories, was the tallest building in that town.
It's fine.
I was like, nope, this is not it.
Not happening.
No. not happening. Okay, so I was a senior when you were a freshman.
You're my platoon leader.
Yes.
3rd platoon.
Yes.
Yep.
I was. So, I mean, that could be good. That could be bad. I won't ask you.
I always liked you. Teapot and I always liked you.
Thanks. I felt like I could have been better. Like, reflecting back, I was like, I feel like I wasn't like as present as I would have liked to have been senior year, but
we thought you were great, so
thanks. But so my senior year was General Bissell's final year.
Yes.
He was our commandant.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
GB.
Good old GB. Yeah. But yeah, so that was his last year. And that was his last year.
Right? I think so. I think,
or maybe
he left like fall of my sophomore year. I think so.
Yeah,
his last full year.
Yeah, his last full year. What was it like transitioning like to new leadership? Did like, and not in a bad way, but like, do you think like the priorities of the Corps like shifted, or like the attitude of like how leadership was taught? I feel like I have a better phrase for it in my head, but yeah, that's just how it came out.
I think it was kind of a difficult like kind of transition, because the classes above us were very pro GB, of course, and we were kind of used to that, and we were used to the upperclassmen's leadership, like kind of like General Bissell, and so we wanted to keep that, even though we'd only had him for a year, but to like keep it like our Calic class, keep it like the other upperclasswomen. And then the classes below us, they were just used to General Jurek. And so it was kind of there was some tension. I remember tension senior year of how we wanted to do things at breakout. And we were always like, well, we're doing it this way because this is how we had it done to us. So, and that was not always a well-received thing.
Yeah.
But we were like, it's a tradition.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. So I think we kind of got to override some of it, but some of it we just kind of had to accept it as how it was. And then we would just complain to our Calics or whoever would listen.
Yeah. I mean, change is never easy. And then the visions of whoever's in charge always tend to be different. I'm curious what it's like now.
Yeah.
The Corps.
I feel like it's so much smaller now too. Like, do you remember the big plan of VWIL 200? We're going to have 200 cadets. That was, was quite a goal. But I think it's probably changed now too with Mary Baldwin going co-ed.
Yes, they are co-ed.
Yeah. So I've been to campus and it's strange.
Yeah.
It's just a weird.
I don't think I've been back since they've gone co-ed. I
just kind of stare at the boys and I'm like, you don't belong here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's probably like the same thing when Randolph-Macon went co-ed. Like, maybe they just wanted the odds to be in their favor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I don't get me wrong, I like Mary Baldwin, but it's not like the most, out of all the like women's colleges you could have gone to,
right?
It's not the most prestigious,
right?
Now that I have like looked into the other, like all the rest of the women's colleges, there are some very prestigious, like badass,
definitely,
colleges out there that are women's colleges, and I'm like, oh, dang.
Yeah. I had visited Sweetbriar. So my brother went to Hampton-Sydney. And so I visited Sweetbriar because that was like their kind of sister school.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but I just ended up at Mary Baldwin, I think partially because of VWIL. I don't think if I wasn't in VWIL, I don't know if I would have gone there or stayed.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, pretty much everyone I know and that I've interviewed, with the exception of Coach, has been in VWIL. So
yeah.
So it's like, well,
our little clique continues.
I know. our little cult, or military sorority, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. They're doing like a little luncheon thing, I guess, in Fairfax
cute.
in March. So
Are you going?
I'm like, I should probably like walk the walk and
Yeah.
go. So yeah,
I went.
Go.
There's apparently a very large collection of VWIL, or not VWIL, Mary Baldwin alumni in, I don't know why I just called them collection, but whatever. Group of Mary Baldwin alumni in Raleigh.
Oh.
And so last year, and they're all older.
Mm-hmm.
I was by far the youngest there, but they had an event at the Raleigh Country Club and Dr. Fox came, and it was like kind of her farewell tour. And she came, and it was kind of cool to talk to them about, because they had such a different experience, like in the 70s and the 80s of Mary Baldwin to now. So yeah, you should go.
I'm actually interviewing Colonel Patrick soon.
The greatest.
So I'm excited for
love her.
Because Colonel Patrick, I think, is going to give such a like unique perspective from when she went to Mary Baldwin. Her father was a professor at Mary Baldwin, and then obviously her coming back to Stanton.
Yeah.
And being the deputy commandant, we did not set off on the right foot. But
us either. And now Colonel Patrick, every time I see her, every time I'm in Stanton, I try to see her.
Yeah.
Seen her at like some alumni things we've done in Stanton, and
she's still very much like involved with stuff on campus too, which is cool.
We always take a selfie together. That's our thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think New Year's weekend I'm gonna go up there and interview her.
Yeah.
When you were at Mary Baldwin, obviously you were in VWIL, but let's talk more about the academic side of things.
Okay.
What did you study when you were there?
So I initially went, again, my big dreams. One thing about high school, me too, is I had a plan for everything. Like I had a very strict plan of what I was going to do, how it was going to go. Very quickly learned that was not the case at all. Very disappointed by that. But I wanted to do nursing still or something in healthcare. And I was going to major in healthcare administration. Took a class. I don't remember his name, but he was like one of the long-standing healthcare administration professors, and he only had classes at 8 a.m. And I was like, I know myself. It's not going to happen. And he had told me, he was like, I think this is something you really understand and you're really good at. And I was like, really appreciate that, but 8 a.m. is not really the time of day I'm awake. So it's not going to happen for me.
Mondays you're awake.
That was about it. And still 8 a.m. is just not my time of day. So I had signed up for second semester for a political science class, just for like a gen ed requirement. I ended up signing up for 3. And first day walk in, there was a new professor teaching political science. We go through the 50-minute intro with her, and I walked up to her and I was like, will you be my advisor? I think I'm going to major in political science. And it was Dr. Kara Jones, the queen. And she was like, I don't even know if I can have advisees. And I was like, well, we'll find out. I'll see you this afternoon in my next class with you. So I had a class with her every day, majored in political science with an emphasis in like international politics with her. Okay. She's worked in Africa, all across the continent, with the UN, all with free and fair elections. And I was like, okay, maybe I could just be her when I graduate. Like, she's the coolest person I know. Like, worked with rebel groups in Africa, had so many cool stories.
That's cool. Man, why didn't they hire her sooner?
Right?
She's probably the person who replaced Dr. Bowen.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And she actually left when I graduated. She works for the government again.
She probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
She sounds. I was like, she did sound too cool to continue working at Mary Baldwin.
She was very cool, and she would Skype my when I taught high school. I would teach about like international politics, talked about the Rwandan genocide. She worked in Rwanda in grad school. Worked with some of the like perpetuators of the genocide, some of the government people to try to do like reconciliation type things. And so she would Skype my class and talk to them about it, and it was always my favorite day. I was like, you guys, this is the greatest lady. Like, she's fantastic. So majored in political science, minored in education. I was like, maybe I'll be a teacher. I'd always wanted to be a teacher. Yeah. And then I took a healthcare administration class again, senior year, that like fulfilled a like politics or another political science class with Dr. Branch, who was new that year. And it was like intro to healthcare policy. So it was everything that I loved. And she told me, like, by the end of the semester, she's like, why isn't this your major? And I was like, ma'am, don't do that to me. Like, I have a semester left. Please don't do that. So that kind of stuck in my head. And then when I wanted to go to grad school, I was like, well, maybe I should just do healthcare administration. And that's what I ended up doing. Okay. So it kind of came full circle.
Yeah. That's cool. When did you finish your master's?
May of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So this kind of brings me, since you didn't commission, this kind of circles to my other question. Me and Tesla kind of chatted about this a little bit, and then me and Jenna also. When I just chatted with her a few days ago, talked about like I know Tesla didn't feel like she had a lot of support from Mary Baldwin or resources to kind of, figure out like her career goals and objectives and like things like that for post undergrad. Yeah. Is that like a trend that you saw as well?
I would agree with that. Okay. And I don't know if part of it was I don't know if the resources were there and I just didn't use them. And I feel like in VWIL, kind of towards the end, like General Jurek had tried to make a separate path for if you were doing like civilian leadership, to kind of help with that, to see the next steps. But I would have to agree with her that I don't think it was very like well done by the school.
Did you get any like information for like internships or anything like that, or did you kind of have to like search for things on your own?
I think search for things on my own. Yeah. I did one internship the summer between freshman and sophomore year. I interned on Capitol Hill. But I knew people, so it kind of, that was my in. It wasn't anything through
the school.
Yeah, through Mary Baldwin.
Okay. Yeah. So I just noticed that Mary Baldwin, I think, took what used to be like the international center, like student center, and it's now like a career services center, which
I think that's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because George Mason has a career center, career services center, and they'll like help you do headshots. Yeah. They have like workshops on resumes, resume building, like just career fairs. But yeah, like not when I think back, I'm like, I don't really remember.
Yeah.
A bunch of information about career fairs. There might have been like some stuff about resume writing, but
maybe
that's
in like an English class.
That's really the only thing I can think of.
I don't think that was something that they excelled at, but.
Yeah, but I think hopefully they're trying to get better at it.
Yeah,
but
maybe, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, there's I am getting my master's in higher education. So one thing I've learned is that in 2025, there's this enrollment cliff coming, which pretty much college age students in 2025 who were born in 2008. So right in 2008 when the economy went to
Wow, 2008.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's fun.
When the economy, when we started the recession, that led to a trend of like lower birth rates because obviously people are broke.
Right.
And not a great time to have kids.
Yeah, no, they're expensive.
So starting in 2025, because of that decline, there's going to be like anywhere between like a 5 to 10% drop of like college age eligible students. So yeah, a lot of schools are going to be like really having to compete and fight like tooth and nail to keep their enrollment up. So yeah, it makes me nervous for some colleges. So, but I feel like I've seen Mary Baldwin stepping up for certain things, just their social media presence and stuff. So hopefully they're doing that.
I feel like it changed a little bit when they went co-ed, like it, which
maybe some extra funding funneled in there,
or trying to make it more sound better for the boys. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that they have better fitness facilities.
Yes,
I saw that like a few months ago, and I was like, what?
Yeah, everything's been like repainted. Yeah. Tullage is now, I think, a co-ed dorm. I don't approve of that, but I think that's where VWIL should be. But yeah.
Yeah, did they kick VWIL out of there?
I think so. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird to see boys sitting like on the stoop.
Yeah.
There. It's like, that's, first of all, that's the sophomore stoop. That's the null stoop, and you guys don't belong.
Change is not always. Yeah. It's just like, all of our VWIL memories are dissolving.
Right? Yeah. Kind of sad, but
yeah. Dang. No, I'm sad. So you mentioned teaching for a little bit.
Yes.
I guess how did you get to where your career is today? So like, what are this like?
It's a very windy road.
Yeah. I guess just like take us from like post college
till now
to the road to your career.
It's
now.
A very I had to explain it actually the other day to one of my coworkers, and she was like, I see how it kind of fits together, but okay. So I wasn't completely sure what I wanted to do at the end of college. Really wanted to work in DC, but I knew I would make no money. Like I wanted to work on Capitol Hill, be one of those. But again, I knew I'd make no money and have like 17 roommates. Yeah. And so one of my old teachers was like, are you still interested in teaching? I was like, yeah, sure. So I interviewed. I got a job as a 10th grade social studies teacher. And I taught, by the time I finished after 3 years, I had taught 9th through 12th grade social studies, geography classes, film classes, like a historical film class. It was kind of interesting. Psychology, sociology.
Oh my God.
I did student government. I was on the scholarship committee. I was like the unofficial therapist of many of my students who I still talk to today. Love them. They're great. They're all my age that I was when I was teaching them, which is very strange to me. It was kind of weird teaching high schoolers at 22. Yeah. It's kind of a close thing. But I left there after 3 years thinking that if I don't leave, at some point I'm either going to get like stuck in teaching. Yeah. And there were some of my coworkers who were like, if you want to do something else, do it before this is what you've been doing for 20 years. And it's kind of hard to get out of. Also teaching at the same school you went to your whole life. They'd be like, oh, I saw your yearbook picture. Did you know you had braces in middle school? And I was like, yeah, I was there for that, actually. Yeah, I was very aware I had braces in middle school. Thank you. Or like, hey, we knew who you went to prom with. And I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of just wanted to leave and like start fresh. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. So I ended up working as like an admin assistant at a investment firm, invested in like pharmaceuticals and the life sciences. Wildly interesting. Had no idea what any of it meant when I started. But it was really cool to see like the progression of a new drug from like research and development and the funding of it to then being acquired by like a big pharmaceutical company. So that was really cool. I worked there for 3 years. It was during COVID. That's when I went to grad school. It's like kind of have the time. I work from home. So I'll do healthcare administration. And then right before I graduated, I got a job. It was like a year-long job. It was a grant through the state of North Carolina. So I worked at a federally qualified health center in Raleigh and was the community health engagement person. So we had a grant through the state that was fighting food insecurity. So we implemented like food insecurity screenings with the patients at their appointments. I did some very basic like nutritional education. And then we also had a program that was about making like the community more walkable because of where it was. There was
I'm pro walkable.
Yes. Where it was the only bus stop, you had to cross like a 4-lane, very busy road, and a lot of the patients used the bus routes, or would have to like be in their wheelchair trying to cross the road, which is a challenge. So that was really interesting. It was a long commute, which was kind of a downside to it, but it was really interesting kind of to see the impact and to see where people actually needed help and how we could try to fix that. But I left there in November of last year, so I've been at my current job a year. And now I work for an association. It's called the Association of Community Cancer Centers. And it's like an education and advocacy organization. And so we get funding and we do projects for provider education about different drug types, cancer types. We have like a whole financial navigation program that we do. So I'm a project manager for that. So I work with a whole team of program managers to do provider education.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. And you were in town for work,
yes, for our Christmas party. So this worked out perfectly.
Yeah, awesome.
But it's really cool, I think, to see, like, we don't work directly with the patient, of course, but to see the actual, like, the things that we create are used by doctors or nurses or social workers or whoever, and they actually impact how the patients are cared for in their cancer journey. So it's really interesting and kind of fulfilling to see that. So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
It's cool to see like the path that ultimately led you there.
Yeah.
And you going back and doing like healthcare administration for your master's. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I guess a sad note, but my dad had cancer. And so I went through the whole like treatment journey with him. So seeing it from how we see it now, but also having the knowledge of like from the patient perspective. I feel like cancer is kind of the area I want to stay in I don't know exactly in what capacity, but it feels like it's just like a meant to be there kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, very interesting.
Well, I'm glad you found like something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
You said y'all had a Christmas party. There were bridal showers.
Yeah, we had 2 bridal showers for 2 of our coworkers. We had a Christmas party. My team went out to dinner last night.
Yeah.
It's a really fun group of, it's mostly women. So it's kind of like being back at Mary Baldwin, like really enjoy it. No, but they're all great.
That's awesome. Yeah. Having a like good work culture, I think is important and actually like enjoying what you do is super important and hard to find. So yeah, I'm glad that you found such a great opportunity.
It worked out well.
I do have some fun questions for us. So like transitioning a little bit. Okay. Fun question number 1.
Okay.
I saw that you went to a Shania Twain concert.
I did. Yes.
I mean, how was it? She's still, even, I don't know if you listen to the podcast. It's okay if you don't.
I have listened to all of them.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you. Then I don't know if you remember McFarlane's episode. She is a Faith Hill fan.
Oh, okay.
And not a
Shania fan?
Not a fan of Shania, but I grew up a fan of Shania.
Same.
So I shared this story of like how big of a Shania fan I was when I was little. Like Shania Twain I was like obsessed when I was younger. And my aunt recorded like the Come On Over CD onto a tape for me.
Ooh.
But during a road trip, like, so obviously there's 2 sides to a tape. The other side had the Now the Chicks on it. And it was missing like 3 songs from Come On Over, because Come On Over was a big album.
Yeah.
Like, it was a long album.
Yeah.
And it was missing 3 songs. And yeah, I got upset. Ended up getting spanked on the side of the road because I threw like a temper tantrum.
Understandably so.
I have always been a big Shania fan. So yeah, I'm a little jealous. How was the concert?
So it was really fun. One of my best friends texted me like a year ago. Was like, Shania's coming. Do you want to go? And I was like, sure. When is it? Like, I'm always down for a good concert.
Yeah.
Love a concert. We bought tickets, kind of forgot about it, and then suddenly it was here. And I had heard some things, read some things, saw some things on TikTok that people were like disappointed. They didn't think she was that great anymore. She's had like vocal issues.
I've watched the doc.
Yeah. Bet you have.
I know.
And they were like, oh, it's not that good. And I thought she was great. Her outfits were impeccable.
Yeah.
She's like, she rode in on a motorcycle for one song. It was really fun. It was really fun to sing the songs with my best friend. And then it just felt very nostalgic. Like, I could remember getting ready for school and like her video would come on CMT, and then I'm standing here like singing it at almost 30. Like, I was like, oh, it's like full circle. It's fun. So
yeah, the fact that she can still wear like cropped, like her crop top with like the leopard print outfit, like at her age, I'm just like, dang.
And one of her songs, she came out and she was like, this is the exact outfit I wore in the video in like 1998.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I hope that I can wear clothes like, what, 25 years later, and she's still rocking it. And she's like, it fits better now. I was like, okay, girl.
Good for her.
Right? But yeah, if you can go, I would definitely.
Yeah.
I'd see it.
I think seeing her in Vegas makes the most sense because she's doing like a specific to commemorate like the anniversary of Come On Over. Like her like upcoming residency is specifically focused on Come On Over. So
I mean,
I think
you have to
I
go.
need to go.
Then you won't miss those 3 songs.
Well, if they're all, hopefully
if they're
on the set list.
She does have some new songs.
She does have some new songs, but the Come On Over, like, I listened to it so much to where like every song on there was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad song. And most of the songs on there she released as like singles and had videos for, which I think at that time was kind of like unprecedented.
And her videos were always pretty intense. Like they were good. And her outfits and like her full.
She was a trendsetter.
She was great.
Let's switch to another topic.
Okay.
I know I sent these to you ahead of time. So, all right. Before I get into this question, listeners, I like to watch women's professional sports. Big supporter of women's professional sports, specifically like the U.S. women's national team for soccer. And then there is a women's professional league for soccer called the NWSL. I haven't been to a WNBA game yet, but that's on my list for this upcoming summer to do. And actually like a professional women's hockey league is starting up, I think.
I actually saw some things about that the other day. I think that'd be really cool.
I actually went to a U.S. women's hockey game in South Korea. It was like the semifinals. I think, it was like the game. They won that game and ended up going to the championship after that. And it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. So, I very much like anytime I can support like professional women's sports, I'll do it.
Absolutely.
So this segues to the topic. If you're not familiar with women's soccer, then get familiar. And we'll bring up 2 people who, actually one of them, so I'm doing a bad job. So, Ashlyn Harris and Krieger, both played for the U.S. women's national team, and they're both queer and kind of like hid their relationship for a little bit. But then like the past
5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
I feel like
they became like, they publicly kind of came out as dating and then had this beautiful wedding. But
they have a kid.
Yeah,
they adopted 2 kids. Yeah,
adopted 2 kids.
Yeah,
and so when we get to this controversy, it was just like leaked or to the press or whatever, maybe October.
Yeah, it was like the fall.
Yeah, October, that they were getting a divorce. But that's not the controversial part. The controversial part is that now supposedly Ashlyn Harris is dating Sophia Bush, and there's rumors that started before the divorce and ultimately led to the divorce between Ashlyn Harris and Allie Krieger, and that Allie Krieger was kind of blindsided. Allie threw some flames into the fire by making a post on her Instagram before. Oh, also Gotham FC. That's who Allie Krieger. This was her last year. She retired and they won the NWSL championship. But anyway, she made a post earlier, like in their postseason, about her being in her Beyonce Lemonade era.
Yeah.
Which, makes references to
revenge.
Yeah.
The revenge album. Yeah.
Being cheated on.
Yeah.
So have you heard about this controversy prior to now? And what are your thoughts?
So I heard about it. I've always been an Ashlyn Harris girly. Big fan of her. Wanted an Orlando Pride jersey. She was their goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Loved her all through college. Followed her. Maybe a little obsessive of I was like, I just want to meet her. And so it's kind of been sad.
Yeah.
Obviously. Hate to see that.
Told me you're here.
Right? And obviously sad for them, sad for the fam. I mean, she and Sophia Bush are kind of cute together. I can't lie.
Yeah. I mean, everyone I think wanted any queer person wanted Sophia Bush to be queer.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a win for the LGBTQ plus community. But yeah, sad that it had to be at the expense of
absolutely.
Allie.
And I know Ashlyn had posted on Instagram one day, on her story, a whole thing of I think it was before the Sophia Bush came out, of what's happening between us. They were getting threats and being bullied, which I think is just absurd when people stoop to that level.
Yeah.
Because you don't know them, you don't.
Yeah.
You can like them and support them, but you don't know exactly what happened. But yeah, no, I've seen a lot of pictures of them, Ashlyn and Sophia, together now, and I'm bold, man, bold.
Yeah.
But I guess if it's out there, might as well run with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's already out there. I guess, yeah. I know she even said it wasn't true, which that part I'm
looks a little suspicious that now you're suddenly hanging out with.
Yeah. And the reason I guess I was just shocked more so, not that Sophia Bush is queer, but mainly shocked that Ashlyn and Allie just ended so abruptly. Because they were kind of they were kind of put on a pedestal.
I think so.
Because they were this great representation of what
plot twist,
happy queer lesbian couple could look like. Their wedding was epic.
Yes.
And I think the other part that made it shocking was obviously they adopted Sloan, their first child, but then they also adopted a second baby
recently,
very recently. Yeah. So, for queer people, there's a lot of planning that goes into having children. So it's just I mean, I feel like something had to have happened.
Right.
To where all of a sudden
It was just over.
you're getting a divorce, even though you literally just adopted your second child, maybe a few months before that. Because I feel like, they had recently adopted the second baby, the cute little baby boy.
They're both very cute.
So very shocking.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know. I don't know if you're familiar with Kristen Press and Tobin Heath and their relationship.
Not as familiar. Is there drama there too?
No, there's not drama. That's why I'm like, now they have to.
Now they have to like carry the
the torches. Yeah, they're carrying it now. So hopefully they don't. Yeah. But yeah. And hey, I mean, you win some. So with the Soviet Bush being queer, and you lose some with
divorce.
Yeah, divorce and cheating. Potential cheating, rumored cheating, rumors.
It's just
suspicious, but
it's too perfect.
Okay, let's go to something more positive, I guess. Depending on people's perspectives. So New Year's is about to happen. This will definitely air way after that. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because by the time we talk about it, a lot of people will have either successfully kept them or not kept them.
Either way.
But are you the kind of person that makes New Year's resolutions?
No. Just because, well, I mean, I guess I have in the past, or have tried to, or at least tried to come up with not necessarily like hard and fast or written down things, but like things I want to either accomplish or just try to be better about.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever been super successful at it, but I mean, hey, maybe I just turned 30. Maybe it's like a new decade will like start some new habits. Maybe.
True. Yeah. So it is a fresh decade.
It is.
So you can have a whole new resolution. For
I do have some like 2024, which sounds weird, goals.
Yeah.
Not goals, just things. I'm going to Rome, so like traveling to new places. I've been living in North Carolina again, of course, for a variety of reasons, but I am hoping to move to the beach. In Surfside Beach, South Carolina, outside of Myrtle. In the new year. So it's a goal, just kind of fresh start, fresh.
Is that like possible with your job, your current job?
Yeah. I work fully remote, so I can live I can live anywhere.
You can live anywhere.
I can live anywhere. I can work from anywhere. Yeah. So I started going down there like 2022, part of 2023. My aunt and uncle have a house down there, so they would let me crash for like weeks at a time. They wouldn't be there. I would just be there hanging out, but I've made a lot of friends there and have like a little life down there. Cool. So yeah.
Very cool.
Live like a block or two from the beach. I think it sounds like the dream.
Sounds nice.
Yeah.
Sounds lovely.
Yes.
Yeah. For resolutions, I don't think they're like I have never been like a person that always makes resolutions, but I like the idea of them.
Yes.
I like the thought behind them. I think it's nice to like, and maybe it just feels natural because it's the end of like a calendar year to look back and kind of like reflect on what went well, what didn't go well.
Absolutely.
How can you like make growth, make progress? So I like that idea of resolutions, but I also feel like sometimes there's a lot of pressure put on resolutions as well. And then, just like kind of the attitude of like, why do it? Because you won't follow through type thing. And I also feel like resolutions don't have to be like based on the new year. Like at any point in time,
you can decide to like make a change. You don't have to be like, let's
to make a change
June, but maybe in 6 months I'll try to change this.
Yeah. And also I think with like teaching and also going to school, my years don't necessarily fall.
Right. You've got like your academic year.
Yeah. The academic year, it just, it throws it off. But yeah, I like the thought behind resolutions. But yeah, I don't know if I'll have any. I haven't taken the time to think about any.
You've been busy.
Yeah, I've been traveling and I'm going to continue to travel.
Hey, I think that's a good resolution for every year. Go new places.
Yep. It is. Honestly, that's what I spend my money on.
Yeah.
Literally what I spend my money on is travel. And what else do I spend my money on?
Travel.
Yeah. There is something else that I can't remember. But mostly travel, concerts. Concerts
experiences.
Are good. Mm-hmm. I was like, I blame this on the fact that I just got off.
Yeah,
an 8 hour.
You just got back from Germany today. Yeah.
So, words just aren't coming to my brain like they should be. But, I'm excited that you get to travel soon.
Yeah,
That's
I'm very
exciting.
excited.
And, my brain. I have travel brain right now. So we're just going to go to the next question.
Keep going.
Because I don't know what I was going to say. All right. So a couple more questions.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Okay.
Okay. Going back to kind of Mary Baldwin again, or college, what is one of your favorite memories or traditions?
That's tough. I have a couple.
Tell us.
I always really loved the St. Patrick's Day parades.
Okay.
That was just such a cool experience. And I feel like, not a lot of people get to say they were in like the New York City St. Patrick's Day parade, especially. That was really cool.
R.I.P. to that.
What a time
for viewers.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
And then my freshman year, actually, we had the Board of Visitors came for Millball, and Paul Galani was there, and he is a POW from Vietnam. He was in the Hanoi Hilton with John McCain, and my CALIC kind of volunteered me to General Bissell and was like, I think Carroll should do this. I don't know.
She probably said Carroll.
Probably.
But
Noel Carroll, probably, more than likely. And so I was his kind of driver escort person for the weekend, and that was really cool just to kind of hear his stories and hear him talk about being a POW for, I think it was 4 years. So I always taught about him when I was teaching, just because I feel like it was a cool kind of connection. Junior dads, of course, always a blast. The whole week leading up to it, the sashes, the crowns, everything.
The sash tradition started my junior year.
Really?
Yeah. Did you listen to Brittany's episode?
I don't. Okay, so I lied. I haven't listened to all of them, but I have
That's
listened
fine.
to a lot of them.
That's fine. You should go back, and if you don't have to listen to the whole thing, but there's a part about our junior dads, a whole scenario that happened. But one of the cool things that came out of it was this unique spirit mission by the sophomore class. The seniors usually make you a crown.
And the sophomore, yeah.
And that year, the sophomores made us each individualized sashes to go with the crowns. And
I still
then
have mine.
It stuck. Yeah. And it just stuck, which is really cool.
It was fun to get them. It was really fun to make them. I made Jones my sophomore year. I don't remember whose tiara I made senior year, but I was just such a fun week, and everybody was so excited, and there was all the spirit missions for us.
It's a lot of fun.
What else? Apple Day, of course.
Yeah.
Well, let me not lie. Apple Eve was my favorite.
Yeah.
And then other, just other random things with my sister Knowles that we may or may not have gotten in trouble for.
That's fine.
Good times. Made 100 Jell-O shots senior year
Oh
for
my
Apple
God.
Eve, and made a giant beer bong. I lived on the 3rd floor of Cable, and we made it long enough to go to the balcony of Cable. That was
Sounds like
a good time.
Wow. I mean, no wonder the time that I visited, I ended up blacking out.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
I mean, Cable was a party. Always.
That's funny. So final question.
Yes.
If you could go back again, if you could go back and chat with college Emily and give college Emily some advice, what would it be?
It would probably be to not make 100 Jello shots and make a giant beer bong. I think looking back, like, honestly, I would try harder. Like, I didn't have great grades. High school was very easy for me. I kind of thought I could, like, I didn't really know how to study. I kind of felt like I could just sail through. And I'd probably try harder and put maybe a little more effort into certain things. But then I also feel like I still have been successful. Like, I don't know if the path would have been the same if I wouldn't have. And like when I went to grad school, I was determined that I was going to do really well. And I ended up graduating with a 4.0. And that was like, I was like, okay, I could have done this in undergrad, but I also think grad school, it's like you're doing something you really care about. So probably just to try a little harder, put a little more effort, maybe have a little less fun. But like I have good memories, so
so you're like, oh, it's funny because a lot of people do talk about balance, and yours is like maybe take the fun down a little bit,
definitely,
and increase.
And it's not my looking back, it's not always my proudest, but I don't know if you taught middle school, but teaching high school, I kind of realized it's kind of unfair to make 18-year-olds decide what they want to do with their life. Because what I want to do at 18 is vastly different in some ways than what I want to do now. And now I think I would be much more successful at undergrad or like deciding kind of what to do. But I mean, everything happens for a reason. Took me my little crooked path to get there, but
I agree. I think, well, I taught 8th graders, but because I was special education, a lot like the IEPs that I wrote, like you really had to start getting students to think about their strengths and weaknesses and like utilizing their strengths to think about what they, not like locking them into like what they want to do after high school, but at least get them thinking about possibilities. And it's like one of those things, yes, you can get them thinking about it, but it's a little crazy to expect like someone to have that idea. And like you can have an idea. Like I started out pre-med thinking I wanted to be a doctor, and I was an international relations major. So I think it's also like important to emphasize like it's okay to have a plan. But like if you
stray,
if you stray or if you go down that road and you're like, actually, like this isn't what I thought it would be. It's not something that I like as much, but this other thing I really like. Right. Like, and I think that's something that I'm working on too with like coming off of active duty, because I think both myself and probably a lot of people thought I would stay in longer and do like the full 20. But it's just like one of those things where it's like, oh, actually, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is it. Like, I want to do something different. And I'm still on that journey a little bit. So,
which I think is fair. I think,
and it's fun.
It's kind of the good part about life. You can change your path if you want to.
Which I think needs to be emphasized a little bit more. And I think it is starting.
I think so.
To go that route, but easier said than done.
Absolutely. I'm like looking back, I'm so wise now.
Well, it's funny because when I talk to a lot of people like during the interviews or like after the interviews, I like one of my favorite parts of these interviews is just like, I think we all are coming from such a different place. Like we've all had a lot of time to like mature and grow. Absolutely. So I think the conversations have just been like really deep and not just like surface level type stuff. And it's been really cool to see people's like emotional growth, professional growth, like it's been really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all growing here. So, yeah, but that's all the questions that I had.
Well, thank you. Like I
And-
said, I was honored to be picked to be on the podcast.
It was great having you. And we honestly didn't go that much over time, which
No.
is a win.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Go team.
Yeah. So thanks again for being on the podcast.
Absolutely.
This is a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. See ya. Thanks for listening to the All Girls School podcast. But before class is over, please take a moment to subscribe or leave a review on Apple or Spotify podcast. If you enjoy video content, head over to our YouTube channel at All Girls School Podcast, where you can watch and listen to each episode. You can also follow us on Instagram at All Girls School Podcast, and you can email us questions, stories, and more at theallgirlsschoolpodcast@gmail.com. That's it for today. Class is dismissed.